Peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Shareef, live and direct, here in the great state of PA with the Black Love Movement and the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I live to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Netter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came from the continent of Africa long before any organized religion to show that we were a civilized and a spiritual people. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my people in the streets, what's good to you? And to my Black conscious family, hotep. So again, this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Peace, Queen, Sister Nakiba. Peace, Brother Lafia. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully others will come on. If not, I'm not worried about numbers. I'm just worrying about lifting the mind, body, and soul of myself and anyone who is interested in their mind, body, and soul being lifted. I believe the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement is a very powerful way of getting out information that is making a difference in the lives of people here in PA and abroad, not because of me, but because of the Spirit of God that God is putting through me and just using me as a vessel to reach our people. So that's what I believe about the Hour of Power. So if you find these messages to be beneficial, please share them and let other people know about the messages. We had a beautiful event again yesterday at Penn Park. Please go on my page and look up what we did, the Pan-African Marketplace and Gathering. A sister by the name of Sister Io did an African ritual of libation, talking about healing and calling on the ancestors, not praying to them, but calling on them, remembering them, and reaching out to the Most High. It was very spiritual, very touching. So that's on my Facebook page, the Pan-African Market and Gathering that we had yesterday at Penn Park. Very spiritual. Go on my page and you'll see the sister there, reaching out to the Most High. If anyone has any events that's coming up, let me know. And even if it's in another city, because people are getting these messages all over, I'll mention it. We have the Sister Circle, October the 6th at 2 p.m. at Closet and Careers. That's 306 East Princess Street. Contact Sister Tanya Larry or my wife Takia about those events. And then the following week, October the 13th, it's Liberation Room, Rejuvenating the Mind. And both of these events are for women. Go to Lady Hamid on Facebook. It is a $10 registration. So that's October the 13th, 2 p.m., 306 East King Street. Liberation Room, Rejuvenating the Mind. That's also for women. We have some other things, very positive things in the works to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. They will be announced in due time. Before we get into this deep message, but I won't be long, I want to say a prayer, because what I've been trying to push across my last couple messages and moving forward, especially going into October. If you don't know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But I'm really going to stress the domestic violence and the healing of our people and the protection of our women. Many of us have been damaged. Many of us have suffered unspeakable trauma that is affecting our personal lives, our families, and communities. So once again, the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement, we're really trying to push that message, okay, and bring awareness on that. So I'm gonna say a quick prayer, and follow along with me if you like. And this is directed towards those who have been victimized and those who have suffered trauma, and it's a way of healing. I'll put it that way. All praises belong to God. You are the healer of memory, experience, body, intellect, and spirit. Only the healing that comes from you leaves behind no ill. We ask your special memory and compassion upon those who have been victimized, disgraced, and have survived. Deliver them, O God, from the grips of human and institutional oppression, as well as the internal triggers that try to make them feel guilty or see themselves as less than you created them to be. Be to them the soothing balm that eases their pain. Grant them justice and peace. Remind them of their high value and worth to you. Surely you are the mighty, the wise, and the renderer of justice. Hear us as we call unto you, admonish the evildoers, and bring them to justice. That's my prayer for tonight, to segue into our message of healing. So tonight's message is called, Do You Know What a Genogram is? Healing, a genogram, I'll explain what it is, but what we want to do, I want to give you a simple solution to avoid generations possibly of negative behavior and patterns that go on in our families. That's tonight's goal. As a therapist and a counselor, I do this all the time, but I want to give us a simple solution to heal or to avoid negative and patterns that could be hereditary and behaviors that transcend across generations within one's family. So the simple solution to that is a word that many people don't know unless you're into counseling, therapy, psychology, psychiatry. But it's a term that I want to make you familiar with, not make you, but bring you familiar with. It's called a genogram. A genogram, Genogram, genogram. A genogram, I'm going to give you the definition, but it's really deep. A genogram is a pictorial display of a person's family relationships and medical history. It goes beyond the family tree by allowing the user to visualize hereditary patterns of psychological factors that impact their relationships. It can be used to identify repetitive patterns of behavior and to recognize hereditary tendencies. I'm going to say that again. A genogram, Genogram. A pictorial display of a person's family relationships and family and medical history. So this ain't like a regular family tree, like it says. A pictorial display of a person's family relationships and medical history. It goes beyond a family tree by allowing the user, which would be you or me, to visualize hereditary patterns and psychological factors that impact relationships. It can be used to identify repetitive patterns of behavior and recognize hereditary tendencies. So how this goes is, and I forgot to quote, it was a lady who came out with this back in the 80s. I forgot to get her name. But this is used in a clinical setting. So I came across this when I was doing my master's for substance abuse counseling. And I said, oh, here we go, another one of these boring projects. I had to write a whole, do a project on it, do the whole family tree and everything. But once I got into it, you were supposed to get the most knowledgeable person in your family and they are supposed to go back as far as they can, as many generations as they can, and they are to pick out all the people in your family, great-grandmom, great-granddad, and you go back far as you can, and then you start breaking down the medical history, relationships, patterns, and tendencies of that family, and you're supposed to bring it up to present day. Again, with this genogram, which was designed in a clinical, in a psychological setting, you are supposed to get the most knowledgeable person in your family. So the benefit of that is no one can say, well, I went to the doctor, I went to the psychologist or a counselor, and they tried to put me on medicine, and they tried to say this, and that. No, this is coming from someone in your family. Now, you can get a professional person to help and assist you, but the way I did it, and I actually got an A on this in my master's program, I got the most knowledgeable person in my family, and she took me back at least 3 generations, right? All the way back to my great-grandmother, and my great-grandmother, Miss Flossie, she lived till she was 108. 108. So what my one of my aunts did, she went all the way back, and she started breaking down certain patterns, certain behaviors, certain tendencies, and she brought it all the way up to present day. And I said, my God, I saw it right in front of my eyes. There's no one making this up. It's not someone's opinion. It's not someone trying to label you with something that you don't have. It's coming internally. Like it says, the user can take factors that impact relationships. It can identify repetitive patterns of behavior and recognize hereditary tendencies. So yesterday at the Pan-African market and gathering with my dear, beautiful sister, Akila, man, salute to you, Queen. You the real MVP. You the real MVP for bringing the Pan-African market and others to here to York. And we're going to continue it with God's help. We talked about repetitive behavior and how they have proven it in with science. They have proved the power of repetitiveness, but in a negative way through science. They did it with fish, fleas, and elephants. And they showed how if you repeat an act or a behavior, it can become someone's reality. First, they did it with fleas. Fleas can jump at least 5 feet off the ground. I don't know if you know that. They can jump at least 5 feet off the ground. So they put the fleas in a cup and put a cover over the cup. And as the fleas kept repeatedly trying to jump out of the cup, but they was hitting that cover, right? Once they removed the cover, the fleas wouldn't jump out of the cup. Nothing wrong with their hind legs, nothing wrong with their legs, nothing wrong with the fleas. But by repetition, they made the fleas believe that they couldn't jump out of the cup. And there was nothing wrong with them. Repetitive. Remember what the Genogram says. Repetitive patterns. Then they did it with fish. They put fish in a giant aquarium, right? And they put a divider in the middle of the aquarium. After that fish kept on hitting that divider, and couldn't go to the other end of the aquarium, once they removed the divider, the fish would not swim to the other end of the aquarium. Nothing wrong with its gills, nothing wrong with its eyes, nothing wrong with the fish. But by repetitive behavior and patterns, the fish thought that it couldn't go to the other end of the aquarium. Nothing wrong with them. It was repetitiveness. Then the final experiment was with an elephant. They put the elephant's food, and we talked about this yesterday at the Pan-African market. Beautiful event. They put the elephant's food 5 feet away, and after the elephant repeatedly walked 5 feet to get his food day after day, then they moved his food another 5 feet away, only 10 feet away. You know, the elephant almost starved to death because he wouldn't walk another 5 feet to get his food. Nothing wrong with his trunk, nothing wrong with his legs, nothing wrong with his eyes, nothing wrong with him. But through repetition, he was tricked into believing he couldn't go to the other end of the, to walk 5 more feet to get his food. So through family tendencies, like this Genogram says, through patterns of behavior through generations of time. Many of us, especially black people born here in America, we have picked up negative tendencies and behaviors that have become destructive to us, and knowingly or unknowingly, we are repeating these patterns of behavior psychologically, and it's almost becoming hereditary. And like I said, I'm not sitting here like I'm some kind of magician and I'm some kind of immune to family problems, all right? Even though I'm a therapist and a counselor and a community activist, so to speak, I got problems and I've been traumatized. That's why I said that prayer. But through prayer, through training, and through education, I have learned not to make these things that have traumatized me become into what we call in counseling maladaptive behavior. I haven't shown, to my knowledge, any maladaptive or negative behaviors that has been a huge negative effect, even though I'm not perfect, on my family, and certainly haven't spilled over to the community. I haven't indulged in any drugs or anything like that, but I still have been traumatized. So when my aunt showed me, when I went to her, I said, I got to do this project called Genogram. I said, I need you to go back as far as you can, to many generations as you can, and show me the behavior patterns, the way we handle problems in our family, marriage, relationships, and all. It was mind-blowing. I saw a pattern of abuse, verbal abuse. I saw a pattern of when conflict arose, the solution to that problem was drug abuse, alcohol abuse, domestic violence, violence going both ways, because domestic violence isn't just a man hitting a woman. A woman can display domestic violence towards a man. Domestic violence is the whole family. A lot of people, when they hear the term domestic violence, they think it's just a man hitting a woman. No, it can be psychological. It can be psychological. And let's be real. Some of our sisters are going to the gym now, lifting a little weights now, walking on the treadmill now. And brothers, y'all can lose your mind if you want and roll up on one of these sisters. She damn pop you upside your head and knock the hell out of you. You better watch your step, including me. That's why I learned to lower my voice, even if I'm upset. But you got some abusive sisters out there, verbally abusing men, putting their hands on men. So it goes both ways. And if you're abusing children, that's still considered domestic violence. It isn't just a man and a woman in a relationship. So I start seeing these patterns of behavior in my own family. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, not talking about problems, not communicating, screaming, hollering, gun violence, knife violence. This is what the Genogram does, and it's generation after generation, and I've seen it up until present day. Present day, these things are still going on within my family. It's still going on. So when I saw the power of this Genogram and how authentic it is, this isn't some doctor, some psychologist, some psychiatrist telling you what they think, or they went to school for this and that, and they say this is what it is. No, if you do it the way I'm suggesting you to do it, because it can still be done in a clinical setting, and I'm not telling you not to do it that way, but to get a knowledgeable person who can go back as many generations as they can and give you the real deal, because no psychologist, psychiatrist, or therapist can go back and give you your family history. They can only give you strategies and interventions based off of what you told them. But someone that was in the mix, they, to me, are far more valuable and accurate than going to a counselor. Now, you can go to them on the back end, but when I talked to my aunt, and she took me back 3-4 generations, the drug abuse, the alcohol, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, the domestic violence. That is why a lot of our families are so dysfunctional. And you hear this verse in my Christian family, don't take this wrong, because I'm here to help you. And I'm your brother. Matter of fact, 85%, if not more, of my audience is Christian. I often hear our Christian family say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, I believe that. But in order for that to be beneficial and have the power in it, what you're saying, you got to know what the weapons are that are being used against you. If you don't know, or you're not willing to recognize what weapons are formed against you, then they are prospering. Example, many of us are in denial about the detrimental effects of what happened to us in the transatlantic slave trade, Jim Crow, and segregation here in America. Oh, that's the past. There you go again with that black stuff. No. I forgot to bring it with me, in the DSM-5, which they just came out with, which is the Bible of mental disorders, they just made PSD, as it relates to black people in America, a diagnosable disease. Go look it up. I'm going to say it again. They have finally admitted what they did to us. They're not going to put this on blast. But look it up in the DSM-5. It talks about PTSD. And especially as it relates to us as black people in America. So if you're not willing to admit that our families have been systematically ruined and destroyed via what happened in the Middle Passage, us being put on slave ships that can only hold 200, and it was 800 and 900 of us, different tribes together, put at the bottom of the slave ship, people scratching and clawing for air, women and children screaming and hollering, women on their menstrual cycles, and nothing there to clean them up, brothers and sisters urinating and defecating on each other, babies screaming and hollering, women screaming and hollering, and the brothers too. And some of them couldn't take it anymore, so they jumped overboard. And then when we brought here, the suffering got even worse. Public lynchings in front of your mother, of your wife, of your grandmother, and your grandfather. Brothers and sisters made to have sex with one another. A man sodomized in front of his wife by 2 and 3 men. A woman sodomized and raped in front of her husband, and it was nothing he could do about it, and made to watch. Our good doctor, Dr. Patterson, at the Pan-African gathering yesterday, he described all this and talked about how these feelings and things didn't go on for 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, for years. This trauma, this unspeakable trauma that no other people in the annals of history went through. And now it's become normal behavior. And he even talked about how there's no documented history in Africa, no documented history of child abuse, rape, and all these sick things that go on here. No documented proof. I didn't say it ain't never happened, but it's no documented proof. And like they tell us in therapy, if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. No documented proof. So now this became repetitive and normal behavior, like the Genogram says. So if you're not addressing this issue, and I'm opening it up to the Muslim family too. If you're not addressing these issues, but you're going to church every week, and you're not addressing these issues, and you're going to the mosque every week, and you're going to Bible study, and you're making your salats, or however you worship, but you're not addressing these internal issues that have happened to us as a people. What do you mean no weapon formed against you shall prosper? It is prospering. You're just not addressing it. And you are not willing to address what has happened to us and how it has affected us. And if it's directly affecting you psychologically, no one is beating up on you. But if you want to turn a blind eye to that, but be judgmental on others, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It is prospering. It's evident in your own family and then spilling out into the community. Someone bump into each other. Someone, they ready to shoot. Sisters calling each other bees and brothers calling the women bees and hoes and all that stuff. What do you mean no weapon formed against you shall prosper? It is prospering. It is prospering. I can show you plenty Bible and Quranic verses about taking care of the family first. That is your second obligation. First is to God and to take care of yourself, and then your family. So what does that mean? Your family. What does that mean? So this genogram is a simple solution from your brother to, and I'm going to read the definition again. It's a clinical term that came up around the 80s. And it says a pictorial display of a person's family relationships and medical history. I'm going to address that. Goes beyond a family tree by allowing the user to visualize hereditary patterns and psychological, I just talked about the psychological damage we received, factors that impact relationships. It can be used to identify repetitive patterns of behavior and recognize hereditary tendencies. That's the definition of a genogram, and I learned about that when I was doing my master's program in school. Man, it is powerful. And get someone in your family to do this genogram, because it ain't someone's opinion. Remember, don't give more credit to a therapist, which I am, a counselor, a psychologist, or psychiatrist. You are the expert on your children, and you or someone else are the expert on your family, not someone that has a title like myself of a therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist. You're the expert. You are the expert. Ain't no one can tell you better about your child. How can someone tell you better about your child because they got some degree? You're the expert on your child. Hence is why we just don't go to anyone and say, yeah, they got ADHD, they got oppositional defiant disorder, they got compulsive behavior disorder. No, and since we on that topic, you want to know what these children have that they're labeling with that? They have an attachment disorder. Or like my good brother Dr. Umar said, the real meaning of ADHD is ain't no daddy home disorder. Ain't no daddy home disorder. Or a clinical term is attachment disorder. These boys will want their dad. That's what it is. Of all the hundreds of children that I have counseled, most of the time, 95% of the time when I look at their chart, most of them don't got no father in their life. And then after that comes all these other labels. It's an attachment disorder. Since they want to call it something, call it for what it is. It's an attachment disorder. They miss their father. They want the nurturing and the discipline from their father. And no one is paying attention to them. And they say, so since he don't want to be the leader, he don't want to get my attention, I'm going to get my attention. Flipping out a boy today, flipping over tables and stuff. At daycare. At daycare. These children have an attachment disorder. They want their dad. No damn ADHD. But anyway, back to this genogram, and then I'll be finished. Hereditary patterns of behavior and a medical history. So sisters, I've been talking about this. October's Women's Month with the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement. It's Women's Month. I'm dedicating this month to you, right? That's what we're going to concentrate on. Medical history. You go meet a brother, right? You meet a brother, and I talked about before, if you meet a brother, it's some questions you should answer. And sisters and brothers too, if you meet a sister, but I always put more emphasis on the sisters because they the queens. If you meet a brother, you just don't let him into your fold. Especially if you already have children. It's some questions you should ask. The first question is, what is your intentions with me? Yeah, that should be your first question when a man starts kicking all this game. Hey, baby, you look good. You so fine and all that. Stop right there, brother. What is your intentions with me? He starts stuttering and stammering all over the place and can't answer your question. You know, and you can say the hour of power and the brother Shareef told you, you got a goddamn clown on your hand. Because he should be able to tell you what is his purpose of approaching you. You got a clown on your hands if you ask a simple question of, hey, I want to get with you, I want to get to know you, and you ask him, well, what's your intentions with me? If he can't answer that question, he's stuttering and stammering and can't give you a clear, concise, and precise answer, run. Or like the movie said, get out. Get out. Call fire. Fire, I need help. Call me. I'm only 150 pounds, but I'm a hell of a man, and I ain't too proud to say it. Call me ahead of time if you're not sure. Brother Shareef, this brother tried to run up on me. I'm going to ask a couple questions, and I'm going to save you a lifetime of heartache, pain, and tears. That's right. Oh, he's bragging. No, I'm telling you the truth. Get out. If he can't answer that, and if he gets past that, you have the right to ask for his criminal record, especially if you already got children. What in the hell are you going to do if you're bringing a child molester into your home? I need to know. What do you need to know all that for? Because I need to protect myself and protect my children. That's why I need to know. And if he starts getting defensive about that, I tell, get out. Get out. Now, if the brother says, I'm a little apprehensive, I really care about you, but I've been in a little trouble before. Ask some more questions. Well, explain that to me, brother. Well, things was hard. And, I started peddling a little weed to take care of my family, this, and that. Well, brother, that wasn't a good choice, but I kind of understand that. You're still a child of God. You just didn't make a good decision. Let's work on that. Okay? Because everyone that went to jail ain't no bad brother. My ancestor, Minister Malcolm, is a proof of that. He took heroin, sold heroin, he prostituted, he was with white women, and one of the greatest ancestors we ever seen. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the contribution of Minister Malcolm and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. No doubt. No doubt. Minister Malcolm, Elijah Muhammad, you the real MVP. We're going to make a t-shirt of that. Anyway. So we go forward. But if it's things on there like child abuse, sexual assault, but if you get that information, don't wait till he's already in the house and you already I told y'all before. I was with this sister before I was with my wife. She was much older than me. And I thought it was strange, but I was just young. I was only like 23, 24. And this sister was well into her 30s. She had way more experience than me. And I thought it was strange that she just gave me a key to her house right away. I said, wow, that's strange. I have my own place. I don't live with women I'm not married to. That's just me. But she gave me a key to her place. And she had a beautiful young daughter. The girl was only like 6 or 7, long, pretty hair. And one time we was in the living room and I was kind of dozing off. I was watching TV. She goes in the room. I thought she was going to take a shower or something. She comes back out all dressed and dappered. I said, where are you going? She said, I'm going out tonight. I said, oh, really? Her girls came, picked her up, and I'm looking at her daughter. She said, I'll be back. Left me there. I only knew this girl for about 2 weeks. Left me there with her daughter. I said, oh, boy. I remember what my dad taught me. I said, oh, boy. And the girl just she had that attachment disorder. She only wanted her father. She started sitting all up under me, and I felt a little uncomfortable because I didn't want no accusations. I went to bed, and she came and got into bed with me. I said, baby, no offense, but you need to go back into your room. What if I was some kind of freak? This sister didn't check me out. Nothing. 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 You got to check these brothers out. Don't wait until they already in the mix. All right? Now, this is just your brother telling you love. Now the medical history with the Genogram. What if this brother got psychological impairments that is hereditary? What if he has diabetes and that could pass down to your children? That isn't a reason not to marry someone, but you should know. You should know how that may affect your children if you're going to have children with them. So that Genogram, it goes right down. My great-grandmom had it. My great-granddad had it. Aunts and uncles with a drug abuse. sexual abuse, alcohol abuse. It goes all the way down. And it's repetitive. I saw it in my own family. Hence is why I changed some of my behaviors in ways before I got married, and I don't even think my wife realized it. I saw a lot of screaming and hollering and violence in my home, to the point that I bit my nails down to the core, because I used to see my mother and father scream and holler and use violence. That was their way of settling conflict. Made me so nervous that I bit my nails. I used to cry. When I used to hear them arguing and fighting, I used to cry. It was years of this. Years of this. So now, if there is a disagreement in my home, I go like this. And at least on my part, I try to lower my voice because of the trauma I suffered in my home. And I certainly am not going to put my hands on a woman. Never have I put my hands on a woman. And I don't raise my hand to a woman. If I even think about going there, I'm going to walk away or I'm going to just be silent. How many of our brothers know and understand conflict resolution skills? But if that was a behavior pattern in your going through the generations of time, now it's passed on and we don't even know it. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. What weapons are you talking about? Especially if your hands are the weapon. You talk about what's formed against you. What weapons are you using to hurt someone else? Sisters too. Man, we can't compete with you going back and forth in no verbal argument. But some things that can be said can really hurt a man and take away all his confidence. No weapons formed against me shall prosper. Do we really know the understanding and the wisdom in that verse? What is the purpose in repeating a verse if we don't know the understanding of it, the meaning of it, the concept of it, and how to implement it? So no weapons formed against you shall prosper. But if you got chaos and repeated and repetitive behaviors that are destructive going on in your family, what do you mean no weapon formed against you shall prosper? The enemy, who has destroyed the very fiber of the African family, they're already making the weapons prosper. It is evident. The doctor laid it out there. Man, salute to you, brother. You the real MVP. Yes, Sister Akila, another t-shirt is coming. Another t-shirt is coming. I went and saw my dear cousin today. Man, prayers to my sister Juanita, who is a little under the weather. Pray for her. And healing to all those who are suffering mentally, physically, and spiritually. And we are going to end out with this prayer. Okay? Give me a black fist sign, a heart emoji, or whatever those things are. If you learned something from this tonight and this has touched your heart and it's something that you see as a healing for you, give me a black fist sign, a heart, something to let me know that this has been beneficial for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to end out with this prayer of healing. Man, I'm so filled with the spirit, as they say, I don't know what to do with myself. This is a healing for me. I ain't talking to you, I'm talking with you because I love you. All praises belong to God. You are the healer of memory, experience, body, intellect, and spirit. Only the healing that comes from you leaves behind no ill. We ask your special mercy and compassion upon those who have been victimized, disgraced, and have survived. Deliver them, O God, from the grips of human and institutional oppression, as well as the internal triggers that try to make them feel guilty or see themselves as less than you created them to be. Be to them the soothing balm that eases their pain. Grant them justice and peace. Remind them of their high value and worth to you. Surely you are the mighty and the wise and the renderer of justice. Hear us as we call unto you. Admonish the evildoers and bring them to justice. This is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power and the Black Love Movement. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Heal yourself. Heal your family. Look up a genogram. Go to a knowledgeable person in your family and tell them to take you back as many generations as they can and to break down the behavior patterns, the tendencies, and the quote-unquote psychological atmosphere that was going on with the family and bring it up to present day. And anything that is destructive or detrimental, you pray that the Most High forgives anyone if he sees fit for their destructive behavior, knowingly or unknowingly. Then you further ask the Most High to heal you from anything that is destructive that's going on right now. And you cry out to him. All right? Peace.